If you haven't seen the movie where Thanos appears, don't worry, this is not going to be a spoiler to that specific movie. We are just going to be talking about the 3 gems, the 3 crystals, the 3 skills that we need to collect in order to be able to have Thanos level power. So basically, we are just going to be snapping our fingers and we are going to be creating a successful business and scaling it to the moon. So let's see what these gems actually are and how to collect them. The first skill that we are going to go after is going to be the skill of prompting, which is going to be the new universal language in the future, in my opinion. Now, this is going to be the first gem, the red gem. Now, in the future, knowing how to prompt is going to be equal to speaking English or exactly knowing how to code. Because English became the language of business in the past. Therefore, prompting will be the language of working with AI. And already, AI is in a lot of directions. You can see it with, of course, ChatGPT. Everybody's using ChatGPT right now. You can see it inside your CRM if you're running a business, or even inside your Excel sheets. So it's rapidly going everywhere in every direction, especially when it comes to businesses. So whether you're chatting with ChatGPT, building in Notion, running Excel with Copilot, designing in Canva, or even just Googling something, you're already talking to AI. This is why it matters for businesses. Now, every role from marketing to operations will involve working with AI agents in the future. This is the direction where everything seems to be going. Therefore, prompting is going to be the skill that bridges human intention to machine execution. So the better you are at prompting, the more leverage you unlock from every AI tool. Here are 3 high-value practical tips for prompting. The first one is going to be structure over vibes. Always, of course. OpenAI internal benchmarks show that models show lower hallucination rates when prompts include context, constraints, and examples. These are really important when it comes to creating a prompt. And also, an MIT and Stanford study in 2023 shows that when knowledge workers used structured prompting, when they give clear role, tasks, and context, they completed tasks 40% faster and with 18% higher quality than unstructured outputs. So a bad prompt would look something like this: write me a marketing email. A good one would look something like this: write a 150-word launch email for a SaaS tool that helps agencies automate onboarding. Tone equals professional but friendly. Include 3 bullet points and a call to action link at the end. The second tip would be JSON prompting. Now, Zapier AI Actions and Make.com AI modules rely heavily on structured JSON because it can be parsed directly into automations. Without JSON, you get text that breaks workflows. And also, Anthropic paper in 2024 says that structured output reduced parsing errors by 70% in API use cases. So what this means is that if you're going to be using AI for any API calls, which is highly likely if you're trying to introduce AI into your workflows for your business, right? Then you are going to be somewhat forced to use JSON because you want the best outputs, right? So by using JSON, that AI is going to provide better outputs and with less errors. So a bad prompt would look something like this: give me a list of insights from this meeting. And a good one would look something like this: summarize the meeting in JSON with these keys: insight, risk, and next step. You can see that with JSON, we basically give more structure to the prompt for the AI. And a third tip would be to role prompt. Now, Wharton MBA experiment in 2023 shows that students who asked GPT to act as a consultant produced business memos that external judges rated 22% more strategic and better structured than baseline answers. And also, an OpenAI forum data shows that role prompting significantly reduces vague or overly chatty answers. This means that if you're going to provide a role to our AI, so basically, like in this example, act as a consultant or act as a chief operating officer, we give him a specific role, he's going to give us better outputs when it comes to the specificity of the result, and is going to give us even more concise answers, so less fluff in the output. A bad prompt would look something like this: how should I improve client retention? A good one would look like this: you are a senior management consultant specializing in agency retention. Give me 3 advanced retention strategies for a 10-person creative studio with churn issues in months 2 and 3. After we have collected our first crystal, we are going to go after the second one, which is the skill of systems architecture, basically making tools hold hands. Most founders buy more tools when what they need is actually systems, guys. So let's imagine this. Tools are people in a room, right? All of these separate people having their specific tasks and doing their thing in one box, right? Systems are those people holding hands and moving in the same direction. So it's basically your army. An army is organized, an army knows exactly what to do, and an army is more efficient than random people walking in a specific room, right? So basically, systems help businesses have more clarity, be faster, and more organized. And the beauty is that by stacking multiple systems, you have a business that runs itself 80% of the time. Basically, you have less burnout and you have more hours for yourself, which is the ideal scenario for a founder, for a business person. Now, the blueprint for creating the system would look something like this. The first step is going to be the IPO step: inputs, process, and outputs. An example for leads would look something like this. The input would be a website form. The process would be to clean and sort the data from the forms, right? And then the output would be to create a new client into your CRM. The second step would be to add an owner. This is the person who makes sure it works and who gets an alert if something breaks. The third step would be to add an SLA, which is a speed rule. For example, every lead should get a reply in under 5 minutes. The fourth step would be to add AI helpers inside. AI is like having tiny Lego robots helping you build. They can write emails, draft scripts, or filling missing info without you lifting a finger. Many other actions included. The fifth step would be to add guardrails like safety rules. For example, retry if an email fails, send an alert if a deadline is missed, or keep logs so you know what happened. And also, step 6, we should add metrics or have a scoreboard. Metrics are just numbers that tell you if the system is winning. For example, how fast you answer leads, how many posts got out, or how many errors actually happened. Now that we have collected the first 2 gems, the first 2 skills, we are going to go after the third one and the last one, which is going to be the skill of problem solving, which is basically the entrepreneur's core skill, because at its core, entrepreneurship is just solving problems. Why does this matter? Every system you build will eventually break. That's not failure, is actually something normal, right? Now, the difference between businesses that survive and those that don't isn't fewer problems. It's actually faster solutions. And problem solvers never get stuck. They adapt, they patch, and keep moving forward. Now, here are some principles of practical problem solving. The first principle is to diagnose fast. Don't panic, find the root, and use the 5 whys. Keep asking why until you find the real cause. So let's say you have a report that didn't send. Why? Because the make scenario stopped. Why? Because the API quota exceeded. Why? Because the token expired. So now we have arrived at the root of the cause. We know how to solve all of the problems that have come from this specific route. The second principle would be to fix small and ship fast. Don't wait for a perfect solution. Patch a version 1 fix, get things working, and then improve. You don't have to get stuck on creating the perfect app or creating the perfect system. You have to keep iterating and reiterating with multiple versions. You have V1, V2, V3, until you get to a version X that is actually going to deliver what you want to deliver. The third principle is going to be to leave it stronger. Basically, every fix should add a guardrail, so the same issue doesn't kill you twice. You have to learn from the feedback, right? Some guardrail examples would be retries, alerts, logs, or dashboards. Now, here are some business benefits that you get alongside with this gem, with this skill. First of all, you get resilience. Systems don't paralyze you, you adapt more quickly. You get confidence because clients and teams trust you more because you solve instead of panic. You get momentum, you don't lose weeks, you keep moving, and you get an edge in competitive markets. The fastest problem solver wins. Now, once you have collected all of the gems, prompting gem, system architecture gem, problem solving gem, you are going to be able to put them on your glove and have Thanos powers. So basically, the prompting gem gives us the language power, systems architecture gives us the structure power, and problem solving the resilience power. All of these 3 are going to be combined for our glove. And now you can just snap your fingers and create a successful business and scale it to the moon. This was more of a fun video, and what I want you to take from this is that if you see business in a different lens, in a lens that is a gamification lens, right? You see this as a game, collecting gemstones, collecting these skills in order to be able to achieve your business goals. Everything is going to be more fun, is going to be easier, and it's even going to be clearer for you on what your daily tasks should be in order to achieve those goals. So yeah, if we're shifting a bit the perspective that we have when it comes to our journey as entrepreneurs, we can make it more fun and we can enjoy it every single day. Guys, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.